Fanta has long been one of the most popular beverages distributed by Coca-Cola. However, few people know that its origin is rooted in Europe. More specifically, the first version of Fanta was born in a factory in Nazi Germany. The drink we know today, however, was created in Italy 20 years later. Let's clarify this story a bit. Initially, Fanta was created to deal with supply issues. But what ingredients were missing? And who was the inventor of the first real Fanta? To understand this, we need to go back in time, almost a century ago. Today, we'll tell you the fascinating story behind Fanta. It all begins in Germany in 1929, during the rise of the National Socialist Party. After the Wall Street crash, the German economy fell into deep crisis. In such a fragile context, the popularity of a figure like Hitler quickly grew. He exploited the hardships of the poor, social inequalities, hatred toward minorities, and the crisis of the Weimar Republic. On January 30th, 1933, Hitler was appointed chancellor. But how could a brand like Fanta be born under the Nazi regime? First, we need to look at the United States. That's where Fanta's story actually begins. Robert Woodruff, Coca-Cola's president, wanted to expand the business beyond the American market. So, as early as 1926, he created an international department, which would become the Coca-Cola Export Corporation. The goal was clear: to collaborate with foreign countries. In a few years, Woodruff opened bottling plants in 27 countries, including Germany. The process was simple. Each country provided the sugar and received the syrup base from the U.S. plant. That's how Coca-Cola began to spread everywhere. In 1928, it became the official sponsor of the Amsterdam Olympics. The Coca-Cola logo was everywhere, on newspapers, hats, and walls. The drink became a symbol of the American dream in Europe. Meanwhile, in Germany, the local branch struggled. Sales weren't the issue, but the financial management was terrible, and bankruptcy was looming. So in 1933, two key events occurred. Max Keith took over the German branch of Coca-Cola, and Hitler came to power. The German economy seemed to recover, thanks in part to the regime's investment in heavy industry. It's still debated whether the recovery was real or just a product of propaganda. However, statistics show that between 1933 and 1939, unemployment dropped dramatically, from 6 million to just over 300,000. In this context, Max Keith saved the German branch. Not only that, he made Coca-Cola a nationwide sensation. Thanks to very effective advertising campaigns, he outperformed the competition. But to survive, he had to cooperate with the regime. At that time, you were either with the Reich or against it. And Germany was Coca-Cola's main market outside the US. In 1936, during the Berlin Olympics, the American brand's logo once again flooded the streets, this time alongside Nazi symbols. Keith sold over 1 million crates. The success was undeniable, but everything changed with Hitler's 4-year plan. The government began favoring German companies, penalizing foreign ones. Nationalization became a real threat. Supplies from the U.S. started to dwindle. To face the crisis, Keith expanded domestic production. He managed 43 factories, and another 9 were under construction in 1938. But in 1939, war broke out, and by 1941, the U.S. had entered the conflict. All communication with the American headquarters was cut. Keith feared arrest and factory confiscation, as had happened to other American companies in Germany. Luckily for him, he secured a public role thanks to his friendship with Franz Goebbels, the Minister of Justice. From that position, he gained control of Coca-Cola branches in occupied territories: Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. Effectively, Keith became a collaborator. The problem remained: finding ingredients to make beverages. With goods rationed due to the war, an alternative to Coca-Cola was needed. So, Keith and his chemists developed a new drink using industrial scraps: whey, apple pulp, jam residues. The flavors came from Italy: orange peels, lemon, grape. The taste wasn't great, but in 1941, the drink hit the market. Surprisingly, it was well received. Mostly, it was used in cooking to stretch soups or stews. The name came from a creative idea. Keith asked his team to use their imagination. From fantasy came Fanta. By 1943, they were selling 3 million crates. But the war was nearing its end. Allied bombings devastated the cities, and Keith's factories were destroyed too. In 1945, he was found among the ruins, still producing Fanta. But that's only half the story. The Fanta we know today was created in 1955 in Naples. Dr. Ermelino Matarazzo developed a new orange soda. He worked for the Naples Bottling Company and obtained permission from Coca-Cola to produce his drink. The formula was donated by Marchesa Bosurghi, who owned a juice company in Sicily. Unlike the German version, the Italian one contained real orange juice, a novelty for the market at the time. The slogan was, "Fanta, the orangeade made with oranges." Success came quickly, and Coca-Cola saw its potential. In 1958, it bought the rights to the formula. The Italian version became the brand's driving force. Over time, it spread everywhere. The bittersweet taste, bright color, and fizziness perfectly embodied the Coca-Cola spirit. In the 60s and 70s, Fanta was bottled in the famous ring bottle, recognizable for its ridged glass. It contributed to the company's growth, and even today, in 2021, it remains one of the top-selling products. It's available in over 190 countries and in more than 70 flavor variants. Curiously, it's not very popular in the US. It ranks only 8th among soft drinks. Let's remember that the original Fanta was an emergency solution. Only thanks to Matarazzo did it become what we love today. But if Nazi Germany hadn't existed, would it ever have been created? Or would it have been invented later in Italy anyway? We'll never know. If you have thoughts or curiosities, leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.